Hello, this is Puma, and we're here for a dubstepping in conversation with Sicaria.
Hello.
For anyone who doesn't know who Sicaria is a DJ. Would you like to introduce yourself as well? Tell us a little bit about you.
And that's so pressurizing. I feel like when someone tells you to introduce yourself, it's like, okay, let's revert back to humble. What little can I say about myself so I don't sound conceited?
And have an ego.
Yeah, exactly. What would I say? I'm a DJ. I predominantly play 140/dubstep as we know it in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
I have the pleasure of being able to play this genre all over the world, which is lovely.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, first off, before we get into the interview, I want to say Happy International Women's Day as well. To all the women out there doing amazing things, or just women supporting us, or just women in our lives that we love. Yeah. So I wanted to ask, was there like a pivotal moment in your dubstep career that kind of changed the game for you?
That's really interesting because I feel like there might have been several.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if I was to describe it, I feel like there'd be a pivotal moment that led to like another level of my career, which then had another pivotal moment that led to another level. So I feel like if I was to go with the first one, it was back when I was still one half of Sicaria Sound, and we met Mala and Steph from Deep Medi at Outlook Festival, funnily enough, in 2015.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, they got us on board to play one of their parties just as the openers.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was so nervous. I'd never practiced so hard for a show in my life.
Yeah.
Because it was just that one opportunity. I don't want to quote Eminem, but it was one of that one opportunity. And you didn't want to fumble the bag.
Exactly, yeah.
So we did it. And I remember there were two rooms. We were warms in the night in the first room, and then in the second room, halfway through our set, the other DJ had started playing, and our room was packed, and no one had left.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was a
goodness.
pretty notable DJ, I will
Yeah.
say. And yeah, that's when Steph and Mala were just like, yeah, we're gonna have you on board as residents. So I'd say that was the first pivotal moment. That was like,
that's amazing.
Yeah,
that's crazy that that's now 10 years ago.
Thank you. Do you know what? It's so mad. I can't believe it, guys. I'm 30 years old. Please, I know I look 21. But
honestly,
the smile lines give it away. But yeah, it's insane. 10 years ago. It feels like it happened just yesterday. And then I'm thinking of the second pivotal moment. Again, this is Sicaria Sound. It's when we had our first boiler room, which I feel like a lot of people who knew Sicaria Sound knew us from that moment, right? Which obviously changed the trajectory of our career. That's when we became global and we were playing all over the place.
Yeah.
And then personally, I think the third pivotal moment is when I did my back-to-back with Skrillex and Peekaboo, because that kind of just cemented my status as like a solo artist that now just broken through and is doing her own thing.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's funny actually because the boiler room was when I first got into dubstep. Someone sent me actually, and they were like, "You need to watch this because this is like, if you want to get into dubstep, you need to watch it. It's like everything dubstep offers." And it's like funny now to be here with you after like, you know, all those years ago, like watching it and being like, "Wow, like this is amazing."
That's so mental, and it's so lovely that you say that as well, because when we got offered to that boiler room, actually the first time we said no, we rejected it.
Really?
Yeah, because it was so last minute. It was like they asked us the week before, and we were like,
a week before.
Do you know what I mean? I said,
that's
hell
crazy.
No, we're not doing a boiler room the week before. We got
oh
a
my
prep.
Goodness, yeah.
So we said no in the hopes that they'd come back, and they came back.
Yeah.
Fortunately, this time they gave us 2 months, and we were like, we're going to prep the shit out of this one.
Yeah.
It wasn't a wing. Like, we actually did prep it, and we were like, we want to cover all corners of 140/dubstep. We want to make sure that people understand that this is what the UK has to offer. Yeah. And luckily it did go off. It
did. Well. Honestly, like you guys made such a statement, and like it was beautiful to see. Like it was amazing, honestly.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what have, over the past decade now, as we've established, it's been a decade, what have you found like the most challenging kind of like in the scene and like being a DJ and going to gigs and DJing out? What kind of struggles have you found sometimes?
I would say two very notable things. In the beginning, I'd say the first half of that decade, I hate to say it as it is International Women's Day, but I guess a lot of women have experienced this in electronic music, and it's the fact that there was a lot of toxicity from men, especially in the genre, and we really had to keep our heads down and not pay attention to a lot of the bullshit. Can I swear, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay. Too late. Yeah, we had to really have our heads down and not pay attention to a lot of the bullshit that was coming our way, unfortunately, because I feel like if we had internalized any of the misogyny or any of the shit that people were saying online, I wouldn't be here doing what I do right now. So that was the first sort of element to DJing in the first 5 years. And then I think the next challenge would be, I said this before, and I actually said this on your newsletter. It's the loneliness, man. Like, being by yourself all the time, constantly, 24/7. Obviously, I used to be part of a duo, so I have something to compare it to. But yeah, being by yourself all the time is so isolating.
Yeah, it's funny because I never even considered that, like touring all around the world. I'm like, oh my God, you're seeing people all the time, but you're not.
That's
it. Like, you have people in the crowd, but you're not having like one-on-one discussions and chatting to them and hanging out with them afterwards.
Yeah.
Like,
well, you can do if you want, but actually what I've learned is it takes up a lot of energy.
Of time and,
like, I've just done the set, and it's not that I want to be rude and like fuck off and go back to my hotel and sleep, but it's like, at first I was interacting with a lot of my fans. I love my fan base so much, but it gets to a point where it is a one-way conversation. Most of the time it is very like gas, hype.
Yeah. As lovely as I'm sure that is, there's like only so much you can
take. It's like, just slag me off. Do you know what I mean?
Be rude to me.
Let's have some fun.
Yeah.
And mostly I get along with people that do that. Like, just be like, I just want to have a normal conversation with people most of the time. And that's something that I have to come to grips with. Like, the more you grow in notoriety, the more you will have people surrounding you that just want to talk about music and like your career, which is what we're doing now.
Yeah.
this is precedent. This is warranted.
Yeah,
this is
okay.
organized. But yeah, it's just, it takes up a lot of energy. You know?
I can imagine. But it is amazing, honestly, because, you know, like all these tours, you must get so tired.
Oh, it's very tiring.
Yeah, like you're just always getting on a different flight or doing a show like every day.
Yeah.
Honestly, when I see people post their tour dates, I'm like, are you not exhausted? Like,
do you know what? It's such an ego-driven thing, and it's something that I've decided that in 2025 I don't want to be running like that anymore.
No.
Like, it's like, oh yeah, let me be Billy Big Balls and show how many people, like how many dates I can secure. And it's like, no, I'm like, no, bro, my hormones don't want that. Like, I'm tired. Right? I don't care. I'm not posting that shit no more.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's really, it must take so much.
It's a lot.
Yeah. Do you have like a favourite tour memory?
I think going on Jesus. I think going on tour with Hamdi. That was that was probably one of my favourite, just that tour in general, because I had someone else that I could just bounce off with, and it was a lot of shared dates. We had a few individual dates here and there, but then we were just going to shows together, kind of like bouncing off each other in terms of music and selections, and just generally talking about life, and it kind of made me forget that I was on tour.
That's so nice. Then it kind of just was like a friendship holiday or something.
That's it, exactly. I was getting
also
to know
the fact you both got to DJ, like, so nice.
That's it. It's like, we're getting paid to do a nice job.
Gosh, you must know him so well now as well.
Yeah, trust the secrets we have on each other.
What happens on tour stays on tour.
Exactly. Oh yeah.
Oh, bless you. Yeah, it's funny. And do you find that your relationship with DJing has changed since it became like, well, when it started out as a hobby and then it became like your career? Have your feelings towards it ever changed, or do you still find it fun?
That's such a good question, because I do actually talk a lot about this behind closed doors. I don't think I've ever spoken about it like on the record.
Yeah.
So this is a bit of an
exclusive.
It's an exclusive. But I would say, so my relationship with DJing, the actual art of DJing, the technicalities of it hasn't changed at all. I still very much love that side. I'm still digging for tracks. I'm still trying to level up my DJing in a way that I'm kind of testing myself on deck. But I guess going full time has added so much pressure. to what I do, because I don't know, it's when you throw in that like element of it being your only source of income, you're almost pressured into securing specific shows just to be able to pay your bills, if that makes sense. And that might impact, for me, for example, it's impacted the way that I've played to certain audiences that I might not have wanted to play to, or play certain tracks that maybe I might not have wanted to play. And it's like, okay, this is a money, I call them money shows. I'm doing this for a bag, I'm doing this to be able to pay rent, you know. But yeah, it often makes me feel like maybe I would suit doing this part-time or trying to diversify my income and find other sources of income. But yeah, that's my conundrum for 2025.
That's really interesting actually, because I feel like you don't really hear people talk about it.
No, and you know what? I'm not gonna fob anyone off, and I'm not gonna throw anyone under the bus. But this is spoken about. Like, this is spoken about in the industry, but it's something that people aren't willing to talk about on air, or like, I guess no one wants to taint that relationship with their fan base. Like, oh guys, I love you, but at the same time I might not love what I do. Right.
I think when money comes into things, people just get so awkward about it. But it's like, the reality is, I am getting paid for this booking, and it is paying my bill.
That's it.
Like, why are you not allowed to say that? Like,
exactly.
It's so strange.
And I always advocate for being honest and authentic. Like, just tell the truth, and people will value that, and maybe they'll see a side of that in themselves as well, so they're more likely to gravitate towards what you do, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's the fact that no one wants to talk about it. There's some pressure from the industry as well, individuals, to not be too honest, because it might ruin business opportunities. You might not be
exactly. I mean, that's just crazy in itself. You can't say certain things just in case.
That's it, just in case. But
I suppose social media as well does not help with that, because you say something that's clipped up, that's put everywhere. Sicaria said this.
That's like, it. Yeah, I did. And what?
Yeah, that must be so like. I mean, I suppose you can't get yourself overwhelmed with that thought of someone clipping up something that you've said, because otherwise, you know, what would you do? You can't speak ever, can you?
That's it. And do you know what? I actually value that now. I kind of value that in the sense that social media for me is such a facade. Like, everyone's just posting their highlights, the positive parts of their life, right? Okay, if you want to clip up something of me, or clip up me saying something negative, I'd rather that, because then it'll just break up the facade.
Honestly, it's so social media is not real, and you just see people posting things. I'm like, you're going through like the hardest time of your life, and you're posting all these amazing things, acting like you're okay.
That's it.
That's
guilty.
What we all are guilty, like we all do it, but it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it must be so different, like now, how you promote yourself on social media compared to how you did before as well, before like the rise in social media.
Yeah, I think I'm just very mindful now of what I post. I don't want to bring negativity to the FYP or whatever it's called. But at the same time, I don't want to be dishonest.
Yeah.
So I'm in a phase of my life where if I've not got something authentically or honestly positive to say, then I just won't say it. I'm still trying to navigate how I use social media.
I think it's hard, right?
It's so difficult. It's one of those ones where when no one knows what they're doing.
No, I think it is that. I'm like, I don't ever see people that are like, I know how to run my social media, and I always post good things, and people just don't know. It's
we're winging it. We're winging it and hoping for the best. Even more so now, because the algorithms forever changing.
Forever changing, and I feel like the last like 3-4 years, especially, like, you know, Instagram is just so like, if you're a DJ, you have to be on Instagram, or you have to be on TikTok, and you have to be posting clips. Like,
that's it.
It's just insane. Whereas before, I imagine it wasn't quite as like. Would you find DJs on Instagram? I mean, probably, but not in the same way that it is now.
Well, it's so interesting because as Sicaria Sound, we came up when Instagram was really coming up, and I think I will let you guys in on a secret. That was our MO, really. Not only were we really grafting and behind the scenes trying to grow our business side of things, and obviously trying to make sure that we were really, really good on decks with the best selection. I actually, when I was at uni at the time, so we established Sicaria Sound a year after we both left uni. We were in the same course. I was doing geography.
Oh.
I hated it. Clearly.
Yeah.
So I did like it's called an ancillary module.
Okay.
If you know what that means. It's like when you take a module outside of your course, it can be any
Anything.
course.
Oh.
So I chose digital marketing.
Right.
Because someone was like, if you want to get a first, do digital marketing. It's so easy. And I was like, come on.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get a first.
Yeah, of course.
But I actually really enjoyed it. And
Oh,
it taught me a
nice.
lot to do. So it was like the early days of social media when people really didn't know what they were doing.
So I can imagine that really helped you guys out.
Yeah,
like,
it gave us a leg up. And I was like, oh, I've
Yeah.
come with all this knowledge. And I'm like, oh, I know how to use socials.
how to use socials.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And fun fact, actually, Instagram first established its virality algorithm in 2016.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. So you were pretty like
Oh,
up there
you
with
know,
it
honey.
all.
Nah, just a
Oh my
pretty face.
goodness. Yeah. That's amazing. Why do you think that like collectivism is so like prominent in dubstep, and why do you think that helps with the success of dubstep?
I think it's because dubstep in the early 2010s, late noughties, grew to become such a monster. It went from being this underground genre, which was mainly for neeks. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the best way. I love
Yeah.
you, neeks. I'm a neek as well. Was mainly for neeks, and it was like it was a certain demographic of people that were going to enjoy this sound, right? And it went from being that to becoming this huge mainstream EDM genre, which then everyone was going out and listening to. I remember I was like 16, 17, going out in Mayfair in heels and a dress, and they'd be playing Skrillex. It would go from like Sean Paul to like Big Sean to like Skrillex.
Yeah. Oh,
Do you
wow.
know what I mean?
That is quite something.
So mental. And then Funk Case. It was so extreme.
But you were loving it?
Yeah, I was
You were.
personally. Other people weren't.
Yeah.
So yeah, it grew to become this beast, and I think it then became this meme genre, and people got so turned off from it that the early advocates for the genre went underground and gatekept the genre, because they were like, look, people don't understand the term dubstep. They don't know where it comes from. They don't know the culture and the history. So we're just going to make this little community for ourselves where we'll just share the tunes that we love. Especially on places like Dubstep Forum.
Yeah.
There was a lot of chat on there about like different artists and different digs and jams. And I think, yeah, that's how it became very collectivist, because you had these people creating pockets of communities all over the UK and Europe, actually, and in some ways America too. And yeah, they just wanted to upkeep those early values.
Yeah.
That
I
were
feel
created,
like forums are so like, they're still even about now. I think it's like a really special phase when you find like a dubstep forum, even on like Reddit.
I was
Like
gonna
there's
say.
just like it's great. I just find myself scrolling for hours. Like you get put onto all these new producers, like all these great DJs.
Yes.
Honestly, I was trying to get my newsletter actually on a Reddit forum. I need to put it on there.
You
like
should.
promo it.
Let me
'cause I
hook
feel
you
like
up.
That is honestly like the little pocket of like, it feels really special on Reddit as well.
That's it. It's like this is where all the neeks connect.
I know.
Come together
It
to
is so
share
funny,
tunes. I love it.
But it's great. And it is amazing what you're saying, like how it did start out as a bit of like a unique genre.
Yeah.
But now I feel like it's become like quite cool if you listen to dubstep.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of funny how that has really changed.
It's so cyclical, because when dubstep first came about, it was cool in a sense because it was the alternative to garage at the time.
Right, yeah.
And that's just cycled all the way back around, because God, we're in like garage / I call it the edits pandemic. And we're in just like garage garage is completely mainstream, isn't it now? And yeah, I feel like dubstep has become the headsy genre again.
I know it is. It's thriving right now. I mean,
It's nice.
It's really nice to
Yeah.
see. And how does the dubstep scene in the UK compare to the one in the US?
It's really interesting, because if you'd asked me that question just before the pandemic, I would have said I rated the dubstep scene in the UK way, 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 way more than the US. The US was amazing to go and tour in regardless, just because when you did do shows out there, it was like a lot of the places that we were playing in were really open to the sound because they didn't get much of it. So when we did play in those cities, they were so grateful to have artists there.
Yeah.
But now it's kind of flipped in the sense that there aren't as many dubstep parties in the UK anymore, because of alternative other genres becoming so mainstream. It's what the kids want to go and see. So unfortunately, like, a lot of parties have died down, a lot of the big ones anyway. We have club closures, whereas in the US, it is literally dubstep is the biggest genre out there. I'm not joking.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I never see any like US club closure things. Like, there's never anything like that.
So they're only just, I was speaking to my agent, big up Nicole. I was speaking to my agent Nicole the other day, and they're only just starting to go through that early peak of club closures, where a lot of the smaller venues are kind of struggling now.
Yeah.
In a similar way to the UK was after the pandemic. But yeah, no, the bigger parties are definitely thriving. The bigger festivals. I'd say smaller festivals too. Yeah.
I feel like it's nice to kind of support the smaller underground things as well. It makes it more exciting.
100%. And also, that's where all of the new and early talent gets spotted. Like, if they don't get to play in the smaller spaces, how are they going to get a chance? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, or even obviously with your tour that just happened, it was amazing, like, that you had a competition for people to win, and that really obviously highlighted, up and coming DJs, which is, was so exciting.
Thank you. Oh my God, that was so difficult. It was like a catch-22. Love the competition, love getting to hear loads of people's mixes, but at the same time, it was so hard picking.
I was going to say, you must have got so many submissions.
So many submissions, and like, it got to the point where I was like trying to skim through mixes, because I was like, there's no way I can actually...
Because it was just you going through them as well, right?
Yeah, it was just me. I
Bless you.
Like,
You must have
I'm a control freak.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
I'm doing this, guys.
Yeah, I don't trust no one else.
No. Wow, and obviously, like, my friend, obviously, big up Freya, won the
Freya,
London one, which was so cool. It was a real, like, full circle moment. It was exciting. And how do you think your tour helped kind of raise awareness of the importance of community and supporting smaller grassroots venues and, like, people, I suppose, like smaller artists?
I think... For me, the reason why I actually wanted to do this tour, it's not for financial gain. There was no financial gain to it. I was
going to say, it must have been quite an expensive thing to put on.
I lost money from it, which is fine. That's exactly what I wanted to do. I've been making all this nice money from the US tours. I wanted to funnel it back into the UK, right? And some of the projects that I was doing out here. But fundamentally, why I was so willing and so motivated to put on a tour like that was to actually send a message. And it's just to send a message out to people that might be on my level or maybe a bit higher than me, a bit more established than me, I'll say. And just remind them, like, there's a reason why we all got into this. And we shouldn't be selfishly motivated. It's okay to be, looking out for yourself and wanting to drive your own artistry forward. But at the same time, I was blessed with so many opportunities when I first started, and to see that people now, or DJs now, producers now, don't have the same level of opportunity that I had is really sad. Because what does that mean for the state of electronic music as a whole? Are we going to be able to foster any new talent? Are we just going to be recycling the same ideas and the same artists? You know what I mean? And to me, that's very bleak. It's like... It's all about community, and like you said, collectivism, and being able to foster a healthy ecosystem that supports itself. So that was basically the message I was sending out. Like, guys, stop. Let's reflect on what we're doing. And maybe let's try and do something about it.
And I think that really came across as well. Like, it's so nice to see someone be like, look, I've gained so much. Let me give back and see what comes from it. And even you saying, like, you've lost money, but you're still so happy that you did it is so nice.
That's it. Thank you. Because that's what it's about at the end of the day. It's not everything is financially driven. It's not all about profit all the time. That's what got us into this mess in the first place. It's not everyday capitalism. It's sometimes let's just do things, see how they work out, let's experiment, and then be happy with the result or the outcome.
Like, honestly, I don't think financial losses are seen as failures. Like, on the events that I've done, I've lost money, but I'm like, oh well, it was fun anyway.
That's
so, like,
it. Thank
it's
you.
okay.
Exactly. If anything, you're paying for the experience. That's what I say.
That's what I think too, because I'm like, what's the point getting upset if tickets haven't covered costs or anything? Like, so what? It was meant to be like that.
That's it. It's an expensive experience, but nonetheless,
but it's okay.
And a great story to tell for the future.
Exactly. I know this is a thing. There needs to be more venues that are easily accessible and not expensive. I mean, I don't know how you work out the financials to make it not too expensive to hire, but then it's like, do you pay your artists as well? Like, there's a lot that goes into putting on an event, and it's hard. I mean, do you have any advice on that? Like,
do you know what it is? Because I don't actually throw that many events, and this tour was the first time I'd actually thrown an event off myself, with the help of obviously my agent and my manager. But bruh, that's when I really started feeling this sense of alignment with what's it called, promoters. And I was like, yeah, okay, if they ask me to post this flyer, I will post it. It's really different, right? Before I used to be like, stop pestering. Now I'm like, yeah,
of course,
you want me to record a video? I'll record a video. I'll do it all for you.
Yeah, no, honestly, I feel like it's hard when you see some people like asking for all these things, and it's like, really? But then when you kind of step back and you're like, oh, okay, maybe there's a reason they're asking for it.
Exactly. I'm like, now I don't question. I'm just like, they're asking for a reason. So
and I feel like they wouldn't ask if they didn't feel they needed to ask.
Exactly. But and also another point which is very interesting, and I caught this, I don't know if you watched the Brit Awards over the weekend.
I actually didn't.
Well, last weekend, because of the timing.
Right.
But yeah, a lot of the artists that won in each category would go up and collect their award, and they'd say, bigger venues, it's up to you to start supporting smaller grassroots venues. You need to provide subsidies for smaller venues so they can thrive too. And it was just so interesting to hear artists
actually stand on stage, on camera,
collect their little award, and on this big stage with like millions of people watching, be like, this is what you need to be doing. And I'm like, yes, this is exactly what needs to be said.
I feel like there is now anyway a big uproar about it. Like, you are seeing more and more big artists, raise awareness and post about it, because it is something that needs to be said, and it shouldn't be the rich get richer. It should be about the community and bringing, making it accessible to everyone. So
that's it, because unfortunately, I see where this could be headed, and it's how it's done in the US already. Like, for them, their events are huge. They don't have as many grassroots venues, and if they do, it's very how can I say? Maybe we'll skip this. But I see us heading in the same direction as the US, which isn't exactly what we had that was so special about the UK in the first place, if that makes sense.
I know. I feel like, I mean, personally, I don't really like big events. When I go, I'm like, oh, this is too much. Like, get me out of here.
I'm overwhelmed.
I know. I like to be able to stand near a wall and not squashed in the middle and feel like I can't escape.
Same, like sardine.
It's too much. No, it doesn't feel nice, honestly.
Also, I don't like stages.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like that really, I mean, as like a member of the crowd, like, it feels like it disconnects you from like the DJ.
Yes,
I don't know if it feels the same.
100%. As the DJ, you feel so disconnected. It feels so weird. It feels performative, and I guess it is. It has become DJing has become performative, right, in many ways. But when you're that far from the crowd, it feels so weird. It's like this. I don't know. Like, what do I do? I'm mixing, but do you want me to like?
I know, because it's like you're so far, but you're also really high up.
Yeah, that's it. And also another thing about that is you can literally, from the stage, you can see the whole crowd.
Yeah.
And during a set, not everyone is going to be dancing and having and like wiling out. It's not their style. Do you know what I mean? Or maybe they've taken certain substances that
makes them kind of
makes them a bit demure. So, but when you see people that aren't having as good of a time as maybe other people, you start to get into your head a little bit.
Yeah, you must do like, what am I doing? Why are they not enjoying it?
And then you hyperfixate on that person. It's like, okay, I'm gonna make you dance, and then you're like ignoring the rest of the crowd. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, but that must be a lot. To be honest, you must be like, can you just smile?
That's it. Get me on like the ground level. I just want to look at the front row.
Yeah,
the front row always.
That's all exactly. The front row are always happy to be there.
That's it. So. We're having conversations on decks. Exactly. I'm like, okay.
That's so cute. How do you feel about like 360 crowds? Is that what it's called? You know, where they can go all around?
Yeah, boiler room set up. 360 style, whatever they call it now. I think it's really. I don't know. My opinion on it. I don't know what my opinion would be. I think it's strange because it's so new. We have to get used to it, especially as so many different parties and brands now rely on this sort of setup. But at the same time, it feels jarring that you don't know what's going on behind you.
Right?
Yeah.
I can imagine, like, you're like, what's going on?
Yeah, fundamentally, if you're job as a DJ is to read the room. How can I read the room if I can't see half the room?
Yeah, right?
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I also just like the fact that someone could come up behind you and just like push you or something. Not that I don't think they would, but like
we hope there's games.
Yeah.
But fundamentally, look, if the visuals bang, the visuals
yeah,
bang.
I think that's literally like it's all about social media. They do look cool. So
Compromise.
Like, yeah. Was it Waterworks? Did they have like a 360 stage?
Yeah.
Did you? Yeah, I think it was your videos.
Yeah.
I remember seeing them. Like
back to back.
that looked so cool.
It's so funny because when we first started, I realized I can't remember who it was playing before us, but no one was stood on the back side.
Yeah.
It was just the front side. So it felt like we were just
Yeah.
performing normally. But and when we got on, it was the same sort of like, I guess, the same amount of people. But when I got off, I saw that we had a massive big crowd behind us. And I was like, I'm so glad that wasn't the case at the beginning, because then I would have started overthinking it. Like, what are the people behind me saying? Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And how do you feel like when you play out your own productions? Do you are you more nervous to play them? Like, see the reception from like the crowd?
Yes. Because, well, a lot of the time people don't know it's my tune. It's because I haven't released it, right? But oh my God.
In your head, you know.
Yeah, in my head, I know. And if I don't get a reaction that I want, then I'm really overthinking it. But essentially, that's where you're supposed to test your tunes. You're supposed to test it on people. So you might not get the right reaction that you want anyway. So that's when you go and like fiddle with it, do your thing. Or it might not sound how it sounds on the sound system as it might do on your speakers at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. But obviously, because I know it's my own tune, I'm just like, overthinking it. In my head.
I can imagine. Because like how do you find it trying to make tunes that are kind of stay fresh, but also could be liked both mainstream and like underground?
That's difficult. That's
I
kind
can
of
imagine.
what I'm battling with that musically. I'm like, if I was just to sit down and make something off the cuff, it wouldn't be anything that I would play out live.
Okay, yeah.
That's not actually what I enjoy making. And that's not what I enjoy listening to in my spare time either. Like a lot of people, I did a dubstep Reddit, like Ask Me Anything.
Yeah.
One of the questions was, one of the recurring questions was, what do you listen to at home?
Right.
And people were so surprised I didn't listen to dubstep. I'm like, folks, I play dubstep for a living. I'm not going to listen to the thing as well.
Not all the time.
Do you know what I mean? I got a big listening palette. So yeah, most of the time I want to experiment and make other things that might not specifically translate into my brand.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or what I'm meant to be putting out. But I do it anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say, it must be fun, though. It's kind of like an escape from dubstep in a way.
Yeah, seriously, yes. It's just like, oh, yeah, okay, I'm known for doing this thing, but at the same time, I can make other things. Maybe it won't see the day of light.
Yeah.
But that's not what it's about. I'm making it for myself. Do you know what I mean?
Because it's like when you hear tunes, you must kind of, part of you think of it in like a business mindset, like, oh, would this go nice in my set? Like,
that's it. And I try, exactly. And I'm really trying to step back from that now. Yeah. It's like, okay, we can have some tracks like that. We can have a few tracks that will go off in the set because we know they're gonna go off in the set. But at the same time, like, how can I be like, oh, we need more artistry in the scene. We need more artistry in electronic music in general. And then I'm only making bangers. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
It's hard though. Bless you.
Yeah. It's like
a lot to navigate.
Yes.
But yeah. I mean, who are your kind of go-to or like favorite producers at the moment? Do you have any that you want to shout out?
Yeah, I'll shout out to Jazz in the UK, who I only just recently discovered through TikTok. Big up TikTok.
Oh.
That's why
that's the place where you discover things now.
Exactly. I rate the app, you know. I have a love-hate relationship with it. It takes up too much time.
Yeah.
That's my hate. My love is that it's just fucking amazing. And then Mara, who's based in Canada, and we've had the pleasure of being able to play some shows and festivals together. She makes really sick music. So if you guys haven't heard of her, go check her out. Marah. She is 30. Yeah.
Amazing. Does she make a dubstep, I assume?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Both do. Yeah.
Oh, it's all about the female dubstep producers. We
love
it.
There's a lot more coming.
There is. It's pretty refreshing to see.
Exactly. When we first started, there was literally 0 female dubstep producers. Iconic used to make dubstep tracks back in the day. Who else? What's her name? Forgot her name.
Someone else.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about Eva 808. Yes.
Oh yeah. To be honest, I remember hearing like some Eva 808 and being like, wow, like that was
Yeah.
the first time I had properly heard like a female dubstep producer.
Yeah, and she inspired a lot of us as well to just be
Yeah.
like, okay, we've done DJing now. We want to make our own tracks. We want to be able to progress to that level. Let's sit down and actually do it. Miss Beats, she released on Deep Medi
Oh, okay.
a very long time ago and
Yeah.
then disappeared. But
Oh,
I remember,
she's
yeah.
still about or
No. I don't know what
Interesting.
happened. I'm so, like, I want to go down this rabbit hole of trying to find her and just see what she's
Yeah.
on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just be like, how
like,
can you just release on
hey,
Medi and then disappear?
disappear? I mean, I rate it. It's pretty cool. Wow. Yeah. No, I that's my next step. I want to get into like producing. I feel like it would be so cool to be able to play out songs that you know you've made. Like
That's it. Just take your time.
yeah, I think that's the thing. Like I don't want to rush into it. It would just be a case of just finding my sound through it and seeing what comes from it.
That's it. Take your time. You will get frustrated because it is a frustrating process.
Yeah.
It's not like DJing. There's a lot to learn.
Yeah, I was gonna say because
Yeah.
like it's not. Yeah, even just thinking about it, I'm like, what kind of do you have to be in a certain state to like make tunes? Like,
I would say it's not even a state. It's one of those things where, have you ever heard the saying, "Don't follow the mood, follow the plan"?
okay,
It's
yeah, I feel like
put aside an hour or two a day where
Yeah.
you're like, I'm gonna lock in and I'm just gonna mess about on whatever door that you're on.
yeah,
And regardless of how I'm feeling about what I've just made, at least I've made something.
yeah,
I'm gonna get there. So yeah, you're gonna feel frustrated, but just do it. And also, don't be a perfectionist because that's something that caught me out in the beginning. Like I was refusing to release for a very long time because I was like, it just sounds nowhere near the level of the other producers in the scene. And then I was like, yeah, but then man, I've been making tunes for 10 years.
yeah. I
Like-
think that's sometimes you gotta remind yourself that these people have been in the game a lot longer, and that's why.
Exactly, and that is fine.
Yeah.
And you know, maybe in 10 years' time I'll get there. But look, in my shitty 2-3 years, like I've got a couple things out
Yeah,
there.
no, you're doing amazing.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, no. And what software do you use to make music?
I started off on Logic
Yeah.
and then moved to Ableton.
Okay. Do you know what? I love asking people this because, like, in my head, I have like a tally of like Logic and Ableton.
Do you know
It's
what?
like, it's so
Yes.
divided, and I'm like, oh my god, like which one?
I would say if you want to make electronic music, Ableton all the way.
Okay.
If you want to work with vocalists, Logic.
Okay. Maybe you've just settled my debate for me.
But then you know there are people out there that use FL Studio, Fruity Loops, like.
I thought that was like not a thing anymore. Do people still use it?
It's I hate to say the term again, but it's a very sneaky software. Like
Okay.
it's a sneaky door. Like
Right.
the people that use FL advocate for FL and they like
Okay.
make memes about it and they have like communities about it and like Reddit threads about it. Like that's how locked in they to what
Oh wow.
locked into FL they are.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. So it is
Yeah.
an interesting.
Yeah, and it looks good.
Yeah.
If I wasn't on Ableton, I'd probably be on FL. I'd say Ableton, FL, Logic.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, that's yeah. Thank you. I feel like you can put my mind at ease now. Honestly, like it's been too much. Just the Ableton v Logic, but now we have a third contender.
That's
so-
it. Oh, wait until
that's-
you get to the plugins, honey.
Oh God! Oh no! Oh, but yeah. But I was thinking, like, how do you organize your USP? Do you have a way of organizing it?
Yeah, I have go-to playlists. So let's say I have a track, I'll categorize it into one of the playlists. Like one of them is called Dancey 140, for
Oh,
example.
okay. Yeah, yeah.
Like another one's like sound system killers,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Do you know what I
Okay.
mean? Which I can just go to really quickly
Yeah.
depending on the mood
Well,
of the
and
vibe.
all of them you like in these playlists.
Yeah. And I'll update them regularly. Like
Mhm.
if a tune has gotten old, I'll specifically knock it out. So
Yeah.
I stop playing it.
Okay.
Because as a DJ, especially when you're trying to like wing it, sometimes when I'm trying to wing it, I'll just play tunes that I play all the time because I've mixed it so many times.
Yeah,
I know how to
you
mix
know what
it.
you're doing.
Yeah, but then I'm like, this tune's dumb, man. Everyone's heard it a million times. Like, get rid of it.
Yeah. I know.
No
I feel like it must be hard because I mean I've been like in a crowd for some artists and I'm going to pretty much every show and I'm like, this is the same set. And I'm like, oh, like I completely understand like why you would do it, but also I'm like, surely you got to think that people might be at all of the gigs.
That's
like,
it. Guilty. But at the same
yeah.
time, I understand it, but also, yes, switch up your sets.
Yeah,
Like,
right?
if you like to pre-plan, which I do,
Yeah.
I pre-plan quite a few of my sets.
Like fully, or just kind of like the first part of your set?
Fully. I pre-plan fully, but I
Yeah.
might not commit to it
Yeah.
fully.
Kind of see what the
When
vibe is.
Exactly. I always say I'd rather go in overly prepared, because actually what I feel like is 90% of the time I get it right. But sometimes I'll be at a show and I'll be like, whoa, I don't know this crowd at all. Like, they're not going to vibe what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'll start the set.
They're not loving it.
No.
Oh no.
I'm like, okay, we got to switch up.
Must be just be scrolling.
Well,
like,
that's when I get the second USB
Oh,
out.
okay, right.
And that's like all the alternative stuff
backup.
the stuff
Okay.
that I might not play regularly, that I have just in case.
And do both of these come with you to every
all
set?
the time, all the time.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
actually quite a good. Yeah, you've got your backup just in case.
Yeah, I always say you can never be too prepared. You
Yeah.
can always be you can be underprepared and it will catch you off guard, and that's horrible.
I was gonna say, like, the idea of just scrolling, being like, I need a tune, and they're just not loving what I'm
Like,
playing right now.
You're scrolling, the anxiety is going through the roof, your heart's elevated, you can't find the tune because your heart rate's so elevated that you can't even see straight, and then everything's going to shit, you know?
Yeah.
So
Have you ever had one of them, or no? Avoided it?
yes, actually in DC. So here's where being over prepared might bite you in the ass. I was trying to update my USBs very last minute, like literally as I was leaving the door. And I don't know what I did. I think I might have pulled out my hard drive before my USB,
Oh,
but it
no.
corrupted both my USBs. And I got to the show. Fortunately, the tracks were coming up, but there were no playlists.
Oh.
There was no record box, which is fine. I can mix off of record box as well, just because of how I started mixing and DJing in the first place. But also, I couldn't see the track. I couldn't see that. I can't remember if it was the name or the artist.
Oh no.
But I couldn't see one of the two. Oh my
It
God.
must have been really
It
quite
was horrible.
chaotic.
It was so bad. It was a 2-hour set. I had to cut it by an hour.
Yeah.
Luckily, I was the last one.
Yeah.
'Cause that's how they do it in America. If you headline, you're the last person to play.
Okay.
And I was like, guys, I actually can't continue any longer. I can't see any tracks on my USB. I don't know what to play. But yeah.
And they let you cut it?
Yeah, they did.
Okay,
I think they
that's
saw how frustrated I was.
Yeah. That must have been awful.
I was horrible. But I still
no.
smiled through it. And the
Yeah.
crowd didn't actually know. I told them
didn't
because I
know.
cut it short, got on the mic, and I was like, sorry, guys, but this is too much. I explained it to them, and they were like, oh, really? No, I was like,
bless
oh, you guys
them.
couldn't
That's
tell?
so nice then, because your heart must have been like going.
Oh, trust me. But I
And
always
they
say,
were-
just perform for it, smile for it. Like, don't
Yeah.
let people see. Even if you're really nervous, just smile. That's what I've always been
through
told.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember seeing something of you saying, just smile. Like,
Just
it's
smile.
true. Like,
Yeah,
just smile through
that's
it.
it. Like, there's so much to it, even on a scientific level. I won't get onto the boring bits, but on a scientific level, when you smile,
You feel better.
Yeah, exactly. We'll say it. Yeah, we'll summarize it by saying you do feel
the easy way of saying it. Yeah, no, it is true.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's kind of like your preset ritual then? Is it just to smile and kind
Smile
of
by myself.
just like getting like a positive zone, or
It could be one or two things, depending on the show, how big it is, or like how important it is to me. There are shows that aren't big at all; they're still small, but they're very important, so I get really nervous.
Yeah.
If it's a nervy show, then I'll probably try and find some time for myself before the show or before my set. Usually, I'm like back and forth between the changing room and the toilet.
Yeah. I feel like I don't know how people just are like in the crowd, then just hop up to their set. I'm like, do you not need like 5 minutes to like pull yourself together?
That's it, and just be like, okay, cool. What am I doing? It's like clearly not.
Clearly not. Honestly, I wish I could be like that.
Exactly. It's either that, or if I'm just like feeling really like confident about the set, then I'm probably chatting to literally everyone in the room. Yeah. And they're like, you have 10 seconds to be on stage. Get your bum on stage. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. No, but that's so good though. I feel like, obviously, I mean, what you said about if you care about it, it would make you maybe a bit more nervous. But I suppose now you must be so used to kind of like DJing in front of people that must not really be that much of a factor.
You'd be surprised. You'd
Really?
be so surprised. Yeah. Like, That sounds horrible. Do you know what? I'll reverse what I said. It's not about not caring or caring about the show, because I feel like I still care about all of them.
No, of course.
It's like the level of pressure that's
Yeah.
associated with that set. So
Yeah.
it could be a small set. But if there's like a lot of pressure, let's say there's
Yeah.
someone in the crowd,
Or
that-
even like the lineup, if it's like people that you love and look up to, like that would be a lot of pressure.
That's it, exactly. So yeah, I do still get really nervous.
Yeah, that's
And-
actually crazy, because I don't know why I would have. I thought that you wouldn't feel nervous at all.
No, oh my God,
But-
someone once told me, and I really can attest to this.
Yeah.
If you stop getting nervous, that means you stop caring.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's true. Nerves mean you care.
That's
So-
exactly.
Wow. Yeah, well, that shows you still got the passion and love for it. Like, it's great.
I think.
Yeah,
No,
no,
kidding.
It is really great. And obviously, as it's International Women's Day, is there any like females that have inspired you in your journey? That could be like music wise, or even just in general life.
Oh, yeah. I'll probably shout out one person
Mm-hmm.
who I don't get to talk about too often on radio, but our first manager at Sicaria Sounds, her name was Steph from Deep Medi. She was actually also our manager at the time.
Oh wow.
And yeah, she taught us so much. And there were some words of wisdom that she gave us at the time that I don't think I heeded
Mm-hmm.
very well. It was something that, it was one of those things where you can like teach a man to fish, all of that rubbish.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's like, she was telling us things that we should and shouldn't be doing, but certain things that we should maybe consider over other things, if that makes sense. And I think at the time we were kind of bratty, and we were like, no, we want to try everything.
Yeah.
And I realized that as I grew older and the more established I became in the industry, the more I started to realize that she was giving us words of wisdom from her experience. And I wish I'd listened to stuff that she'd said at that age, because I would have saved myself, a lot of like hassle, trouble, mistakes, stupid lessons that I learned along the way.
Yeah.
But I also do think you have to learn your own lessons.
Yeah, I know. I feel like, I mean, even just sitting here and listening to what you're saying, I'm like, wow, yeah, I feel like I'm learning so much. But then also there is my own lessons I'm going to have to, go through.
You have to get burnt. It's unfortunate. You have to get burnt.
And also I feel like you have to have those like lower moments to then appreciate when it's like stuff is amazing.
That's
and
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Otherwise, it would you'd just be living in this state of neutrality where nothing really happens,
Exactly. And it's amazing to see so many women doing amazing things at the moment. Like I
Yeah.
love it. I love going on social media and just seeing women do great things.
That's it.
Like,
Big up women in 140
Yeah.
Dubstep, because there was seriously in 2015 when we first started, there was literally no one aside from Madam X, Barely Legal, us, a couple other people.
Yeah.
But now I see that there are so many women. It's thriving in the genre. Love to see it. Keep going, guys. Like,
honestly, and a big up to you as well. I
Thank
mean, you've
you.
really pushed the genre for women
Trying.
as well. Like, it's amazing. Like, yeah, you've been a big inspiration for me as
Thank
well.
you. It's
so.
my turn to pass on the baton.
Yeah,
now.
pass the torch.
Yeah, go on, girls.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. And thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you
down
having
for
me.
this interview. It's been amazing.
Thank you, and happy International Women's Day
Yes,
again.
happy International Women's Day to anybody listening. And big up all the women who have supported us and are in our lives, and big up to you as well.
Thank you.
Mo.